Hi, Rick here. Yeah, I just wanted to have a short little discussion about my recent attendance of BGG 2025. It was my third BGG festival. It was my second in 2 years, and it was my first main festival since 2019. Now, the reason I took what's the word? The reason I took so long to go back to a festival, well, the reason is compounded. And later, 2 weeks after the festival, I got into a little bit of trouble. I've talked about it before on here, so I'm not going to recap. That may get you to watch my other videos. One called Two Pariahs goes into detail on it, right? Sorry, just clicking into my logged plays here. But one of those things was illness. I was fighting some illness when I went to BGG 2019, and then it was getting mentally right as well after my brain started to recover. And then what do you know? I ended up having another kid. So whenever you have two kids and they're both toddlers, it's pretty easy to go to BGG. But then you have a baby. There's a couple of years where it's a little harder to hand her off to someone and say, "Hey, here, here, watch the kid while I go to Board Game Geek." But anyway, uh, I went. I had a good time. Here are before I get into the games that I got, from the festival or convention rather festival or whatever convention, uh, and then go into the games I played. I am going to get into sort of some things I've noticed that are different since 2019. So, when I went in 2019, there was already a huge board gamer fan base in this country and all over the world. This country being the United States, where I live, and it seemed that it mostly skewed male, male, probably hetero, along with your GAYMER gamers. Um, Very open-minded, very but also like very normative, and I don't mean that in a bad way. You didn't have a whole bunch of people who were trying to like make it clear what their politics were, okay? So in spring it didn't feel like that either, and it wasn't stinky. So this convention it was stinky. And what made it worse is the people who use the hotel soap. Hotel soap, I don't know if you guys knew this, it has a very distinct smell. And it's really not that good at cleaning you. So it smelled like corn chips, booty, and hotel soap. It would have been fine if it smelled like corn chips and booty, but the hotel soap is what really made it bad. And then you have people who like they don't know how to fragrance properly. So there are people who want to make sure they never smell bad, so they put on too much darn cologne. I only encountered this a couple times, and this isn't to go off on the people because I had a great time. But I think after 2020, a lot of people realized how isolated they were, and they really dived really deep into hobbies. And one of those things was board gaming. Great, open arms, welcome them in. I didn't really come into the hobby into the mid 20 teens anyway, and it was because my wife and I were looking for things to do when we had a baby at home, and we were able to invite people over and play board games. And we started out playing things like Monopoly, etc. And next thing you know, we were playing King of Tokyo and Mansions of Madness. And then, as you see, my behind me is one of one, two, three, four, five, six. I won't say the other one because this isn't a video for Zoomers. It's about 6 shelves of gaming, between 200 and 300 games now. Many of which I don't believe in a shelf of shame. I believe in shelves of happiness, because whether they get sold or they get played, someone will be happy. Anyhow, I noticed this year that it's very clear that there are people who got into the hobby that don't know really how to behave at conventions. And the first thing that popped up, and my wife offered me an anecdote of one of our friends who was working in the convention and his experience, but I'll only relay my experience, but it's pretty much the same thing that happened with him. You'll have people who think, I'm in the main hall. I need to preserve this spot in the main hall because I have to be where the most gamers are. That's just simply not the case. Now, did I play a lot of games in the main hall? Absolutely, but I also played them in the second hall and the third hall, which was a floor below. Um, but you would have people who would like put their drink on a table or leave a bag and then just leave, sometimes up to 2 hours. And it even states on the thing we sign, the code of conduct, etc. For sorry, that'll stand for the BGG con that you're not supposed to just camp out on tables. You could always find another place. Um, and the 3 times I've been there, there has never at least been one table available. But like I said, some people they just feel they have to stay in the main hall, and it's often people who have not been to that many conventions. I haven't been to that many, but I also have been to 2 before this, so I do know the etiquette. Got to read the rules. So that was a bit annoying. You know, we were trying to get a table. These guys wanted to stay nearby. I said, let's go to another room. Some girl, and like, you kind of knew whenever the people returned the table exactly what they were going to look like. They looked like very, maybe college age, fresh out of college, new experience. God bless them. Honestly, the guy who got most annoyed, I was like, you should have told me. I would have been a dick about it. And I don't mind being a dick. I said, like, we're playing here. They can find another table when we get back. And I've done that at a convention before. And generally, the people who come up are like, oh, I didn't realize they'd be gone that long. They're apologetic and they pick up their stuff. But the guy, like, he kept harping on it. I'm like, it's okay. Like, we found another table. If you wanted to get annoyed, you should have done it 5 minutes ago and been like, we're going to play here. And I don't care if they're coming back. And they were playing like some silly. Some of my friends and I make fun of like the people who have to play the hot games, but it was like very clear these people were fairly new to the hobby, and that's okay because you don't want people who feel like they like you own the hobby, right? So yeah, so that was cool. I met some really cool people, exchanged numbers, exchanged Facebook connections, stuff like that. I talked to a friend I met at the spring convention probably at least once a week. Uh, and then one of the families that I met this time heard their son talking about teaching his friend a game. He ended up teaching me a game that I just blew me away. I knew it existed, but no one I know really has it, so I hadn't played it. And I just was extremely happy with the experience. I linked up with he and his family a couple days later. Loved talking to them, taught them a game, and now I'm gonna get into what I got from the convention. And I got 3. I guess 2 of these are like expansions for Bonanza that you may have heard of, and then there's another one, and one of them is a standalone game. Now these, one of my friends, Bonanza is one of his favorite games, and I figure I'm gonna give them to him because he owns Bonanza. It's one of his favorite games, and the great thing is I play with games with this guy like 4 times a month. So if I want to play it, he's got all of it. Okay, the other stuff I got, and then something I saw randomly on a shelf. I got Watch, which I haven't heard of, but there was someone at the convention who said they had played it and really enjoyed it. So we'll play that one. And interesting concept, as a trainee at a Soviet watch factory, you discover a dark secret. By mastering your skills in smuggling and extracting bribes, you have a chance of being a true hero of labor amongst your mischievous comrades at this former munitions factory. 1 to 4 players. I always like a single player option if it's available. Let's see. I feel like I'm missing one. Oh yeah. And then for all those Friedman Freeze fans out there, which I feel like if you're in board gaming long enough, you're gonna like one of his games. He's one of the most popular designers. We have, I guess, FIAM or FAM, which has something to do with Egypt, I suppose. And then there's a little expansion that comes with it as well. That is 100% going to be played because the same friend who I'm giving that other thing, he's a big Friedman Freeze fan. I'm sure we'll end up playing it. Got this one, Bear Valley. Looks like you're sort of making little maps, maybe, you know, like, I don't know, it's a little tableau thing, but either way, it's most small boxes I just end up keeping because they don't take it to its room. And on the people, I don't want this game, because I want something else. So I'm just going to put it on the shelf and hope someone takes it. I saw this game called Coal Country. This game is very poorly reviewed on BGG. And you know what that means to me? Absolutely nothing. Because there are people who go on BGG just to downvote Monopoly, make it a 3 out of 10. Which, I don't really play Monopoly anymore, but if my kids want to play it, I'm going to have a good time playing with it. There's nothing wrong with Monopoly, especially like Monopoly Deal, which is actually a really pretty darn good game. Still has bad ratings. Now, on the last convention, I got 2 games, and I am going to keep them both. I'm actually interested in both of them. My first convention, I don't think I played a single game that I got. I think I ended up selling all of them. And some of them I intended to play, but it's just like after a certain time on the shelf, you're like, who and when am I going to play that with? Now that I know sort of what I lean towards in gaming, it's just something that's ever going to be opened up, right? But I gotta say, besides giving, if I was not giving the Bonanza games to my friend, I would keep them. I plan on playing every single one of these games. They might sit in the shelf of shame for a little while, but I can tell you, especially thematically, like I just think the idea of this Coal Country game, like this is like, I think it's kind of cool as someone who used to live in Western Virginia, close to West Virginia, and that was a real part of life near where I lived. I don't care about its bad reviews. I'm going to give it a shot. And plus, it's people who did like it really emphasized that there's a lot of math to it. And I'm not a huge fan of math, but I do like working my brain. I do like playing games that really make me feel mentally exhausted when I'm done, which isn't for everyone. Okay, so now I'm going to go through which games I played. So let me set up my window capture real quick. Okay. And let me move this window. Okay. Let's move it to this side. You don't need to see that much of me anyway. So here is my, let's start down here. Here are the games I played. Fiera Bend, I guess, is how it's called. I absolutely loved this game. So first, I want to show the board. Absolutely. Oh, it's my oh, there we go. Absolutely one of the like one of the cutest boards I have ever seen. Let me do this. You have like this whole track where you're like trying to mine was set up a little different, but like where you can go to try to get women's equality in the workplace, where you're getting your wages raised, where you're striking to get better wages, right? And what was so cool about this game is like the emphasis is relaxation. Like here, gosh, I keep going to the wrong screen. So workers try to relax in after-work activities and fight for better working conditions. Because they say most worker placement games, you're trying to do work. This one, you're trying to get free time. And the great thing about it is like you have it where like some of these circles right here, like you're going on vacation. If you have a girlfriend, you get more of a bonus on vacation. You have, see, it even has like this little thing where, see that little heart right there? Like you get a little bonus. You get a little bonus if that it's required that you have to be on a date to go here. So I just thought that was really cute. It's a 7 out of 1 because I'm sure it's not for everyone. I honestly probably give it an 8 or 9. My experience was really good. Not quite a 10, but you know. Okay, so now we're gonna get in the stuff I didn't enjoy. Oh, look, Orlage. It's a hold on, let me move my mouse over here. Oh, it's an 8 out of 10. It must be really good. I respectfully disagree. Now, so we're gonna click on the board. So you can see it's very busy. It's also very pretty. There's lots of stuff to do, right? You're making a clock. But then you look at all of this. This is a little track to let you make certain parts of the clock. This is another track. This is a track to get a stained glass window. This is a track to get more items. And I gotta say, it was not a bad game, but I know that even if I played it again, it would not be for me. And it's not because it has a 3.57 weight, which is kind of considered like medium to hard. I don't even think it was that. It felt completely non immersive. I never felt like I was taking part in building a clock. And for a game to grab me when it has this much beauty on the board, I want it to really immerse me. It didn't, not even remotely. I'd probably give it, like on a good day, a 6 out of 10. And I don't, and this isn't like to be a naysayer because some people really enjoyed this game, but I ran into so many other people in the convention and they were like, I felt like I would put my little figure to do something. And then there was like an artist figure and you have to give them an apron. And that was people's main complaint. They were like, I felt like this guy was totally unnecessary for the game. Like it just seemed like something to design or to add on just to have one more thing to do. And you'll find lots of games like this. And I have looked at some of the other stuff that some of the people involved have done, and they have made. Let's see, they've made some other stuff that like wasn't so bad. Actually, this only he made Virus Rolling Right, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's another game that I saw that. But yeah, not for me. Even like having actually seen this clock in Prague, though I probably don't barely remember because that was so long ago. I felt like there are so many even complicated worker placement ones that just have a better feel and work. But I won't say don't give it a try, because I think it's worth at least trying just for the beauty. Sometimes beautiful games grab you, um, But we'll move on to the next game I played. I played Tigris and Euphrates, which is an older game, 1997. This was a fun experience, and there was a guy who really knew the game playing with us. It's sort of like a region area control battle thing, which it's just numbers. It's a fairly simple game, um, and you have like this thing where like you have your tiles behind, so when you battle, you don't know what the other person's going to drop their hands that wins the battle. So there was a little bit of luck involved. I would say, as far as a Knizia game, a very solid one. He's also, if you don't know who he is, he's one of the more popular board game creators out there, designers, shall we say? But yes, played it at 4 players. Good experience. Played with 3 people who were really fun to talk to, and didn't end up playing games with them again, but talked to one of them later just because I had given her the wrong day for the bazaar. It's kind of a funny story. But yeah, I thought the bazaar was on the wrong day and went to it with my stuff to sell, and it was on the wrong day. Okay, then I played Colorado, a little card game that was fun. It was about getting certain cards, and what's cool is you have to subtract your score from the cards you got least of. So it's this thing of like where I have to pick up cards from like 3 or 4 in a row. And do I want to add them to my pile and take the lower scoring cards just so I can get a higher score later? I just see weight 1.27. This game took no time at all to learn, which is good for a lot of people, especially at a convention. And then we go to High Society. Let's see, I remember this game. You're trying to, oh yeah, you're trying to get like these pieces of art and stuff, and it's important to have the most so that other people in society look at you. It's another good Knizia game. This one for a while was really popular amongst people who like favor card games over actual board games. Good one to throw in your pocket, go on vacation and play. Yeah, solid play. I'd give it a 7 or 8. Next day, I decided to go to the new shelf, not the hot games. There's a big difference. The new shelf had Gems of Iridescia. This game I played with 3 strangers, and we all agreed that like for a good little easy family game, it's a good purchase. It is beautiful. Uh, like I mean, the name is in the title, Iridescia, iridescent. Just cute little cards. Uh, it's a thing where you're trying to mine stuff so you can have like the best rune, the best jewel, and all this stuff. It's very luck based, but not necessarily in a bad way, right? Um, I think it's a good family game, but I I think with kids, right? And it even says 10 plus. I'd even go 6 plus. I think this game would be perfect as like a beginner game when you're trying to get like a 6 year old or 7 year old who can read and get them into sort of board gaming. Great starter game, right? But just not really for what I like to play. But if I owned it and I could get it cheap, I'd absolutely play with my kids. Flip 7 is like a newer card game. I really enjoyed this so much to the fact that I asked my wife to buy it when I got home because it first of all it's cheap, low complexity, and all it is it's pretty simple. You have cards, and these are the cards in the game. You have 12 of each number, right? And you are trying to get 7 cards in your hand before you get the same card twice. So if you get 11 twice, you're out. You get nothing. But if you get 7, you end the round and you get all your points. But you can also back out. And then there's also the bonuses and stuff like that. Now you can kick people out if they have a high score. Uh, really was an instant, let's go buy it sort of game, which is rare. Trio, do I even remember playing this game? Did I play this game? This was kind of like the other one. I vaguely even remember playing this. But let's see, what's it say? Gosh, this tells you how um, players receive some cards in hand, which say are required to sort from low to high. Yeah, this one wasn't too interesting. Um, I'd give it about a 6 or a 7. I just thought Flip 7 was so much better, but it wasn't bad. Project Elite. This is a very well known game. Um, I played the old version, unfortunately. And from my understanding, it had some balancing issues. I had a decent time. I actually played it solo, just because I figured if anyone wants to come play, they'll play. I'm going to learn the game. It's a little, strategic combat, move your guy around, shoot some aliens. I wish they'd had the updated version because everything I've read is that the updated version right here is significantly better. Because it was like a situation where like I couldn't even move my guy on the board because I couldn't get the right cards. So maybe one day I'll see if I can get that for Christmas and try it out. But I wanted to try it for several years since somebody on the Dice Tower had said it's like one of his favorite games. Animal Rescue Team. Oh my gosh. This game was an absolute blast. 9 or 10. So cute, great components. You have to load up people to try to rescue these animals, and you have like these things that happen where like we'll go here, like, oh, the bridge is out. You have to go this other way to get there, and you can't really see it in this picture, but there are clear delineations on the board when you play it of where you can and can't go. I don't know if it's a buy, but I do know the time I played it, I had an absolute blast. But yeah, the job is to rescue animals from storms. So you get to pick, and like some of it's dogs, some of it's chickens, some of it's cats. Recommend this game to anyone and everyone, but especially if you're an animal lover. And then we go to Shadows over Camelot. Holy heck. I'd never played this game. The fact that it's a 7 tells you that some people just aren't fun. This came absolutely as a blast. And I really hope that the rumors of a reprint, because right now if you want the base game with the expansions, you're spending like $300-400 because it's out of print. I really hope rumors of the expansion come to fruition, or the second edition come to fruition, because I want to this game, but trying not to spend too much on games now. I just can't fork out $100 for a 20-year-old game now. But yeah, so this fella Jeremy taught me this game with some guys who have been working BGG for years. Yeah, 10 out of 10. Like, and like not it's not even close to a 9. Absolutely love this game. It's a semi-cooperative because you do have the whole trader mechanic. You can be a trader. I was the second game, but I was just like, I'm having so much fun. I don't want to betray the team. but I didn't. I kind of did some things that weren't too obvious that I was the traitor, so that's good. But yeah, we won. I didn't so much win because I was supposed to be. But yeah, you go on these little quests, and you have to keep your castle from being attacked. So you have to be in certain locations on the board. Uh, Beautiful design, as you can see. And once you get a certain amount of white swords at the end, you win. And if you get too many black swords, you lose. And that's what the trader is trying to do, get all the black swords there. But I played that twice. How much I loved it. Nemesis Retaliation. I did one play. It's basically Aliens. The second of the Alien movie. You're going in there. You're trying to kill the aliens. Find some stuff. I played Nemesis Retaliation. That's when I played. Fate Defenders of Grimheim. You'll notice I have. Well, no, you won't notice. Maybe not. I have two plays of this because I played it in spring. I loved it so much. I ran into a guy who wanted to play it, and I said, I absolutely will play it. And since I have played it, I'll help teach it. And the first time we played this back in spring, got demolished. Really, our strategy was bad. If you'll notice, there's like these hordes of people coming to attack you. This must be like the upgraded version, right? And you're right here trying to defend Grimheim. So when this happened in my first game, we were all on the same side of the board and we just couldn't get over to the other side. Got demolished. This time, we had a good strategy, and I think because I had played previously, we were able to cover all sides of the board. And I think, and this is shocking, I think we only lost to one or two. And generally, when you win this game, you might have one or two left. Because you had those little village things. Once they're all gone, you lose the game. But yeah, great game. I see it on sale. In fact, let's see if it is on sale anywhere. Oh, Backwoods Wizards, $47.99. Might have to break my... No, this is one that I am going to buy because I think it does a better job at tower defense than Castle Panic does. Sort of similar, but there's more strategy involved. But it's one that next year I am going to buy because I'm allowing myself to buy new board games that aren't just expansions this time. And then I played a classic game of Texas Hold'em. And I was the third person out of the table because I had two queens. She had a king and she got a queen on the river. It's fine though. It's fun. It's mostly just a social experience. Yeah. So I went home after that just because on that day, I don't. You know what? I know why I only played 3 games. That was the day of the bazaar. So I had to put all my stuff in the room before 9 o'clock. Came back, sold my stuff till 11, got lunch. So really, there was only time to play a few games if I was going to do the poker thing. And after poker, I almost was like, let me play one more thing. I'm like, you know what, Rick, go home tomorrow and go play some more games. And I did. And the next game, I met up with Jeremy and his family, and I played Viticulture for the first time. I am an enophile. I love wine. So this game was right up my alley. I've been meaning to play it for years. So many times I've seen it like at a shop where like it's the Viticulture, and then they say buy the Tuscany expansion because they say it's even better. But yeah, it is a nice little cute board where you are finding your way to harvest grapes, make wine, and sell wine. And I had a really good time. It is going to... I think enough people own it that it won't be a future purchase, but I won't say for sure that I'll never buy it if I can't find it like really cheap. But as you can see, there are essential editions, so I would probably buy that. From what I've read, it's mostly just improvement in components that play slightly differently. But you can see not an overly expensive game, but one that I probably would just try to buy used for like 20 or 30. But I would give it definitely a 7 or 8, yeah. I played Railways of the World, which luckily I have played several times with one of my board gaming buddies who always hosted. It's one of the games he hosted his game night quite often. So I was able to teach it. I played with Jeremy and his family, and this made a new friend as well, and she played with us. And just a solid, you're making your own train line. You're delivering goods to a station. You have bonus cards. You got to upgrade your engine. Very ipso facto game. You know exactly what you're doing. Once someone explains it to you, you will never forget the game. And that's kind of cool when you like the only thing I even had to check the rule book for was how many cards we pull out on each turn. And I may have got that wrong, but it wouldn't have affected the game. It's not like a thing where if I pulled out one too many cards, someone like might win instead of me, sort of thing. Plate Evacuation. Now this is a game I own, but uh, Jeremy and his family wanted to play, so they have a friend named Quinn that he's been to every BGG except for the first one. He's been going for years. He taught us this game. It's a high complexity, but once you get it, once it clicks, you're like, oh, it's not that complex once I know it, and everything makes sense. But the deal is, this is a planet we've discovered. This is a dying planet. Our goal is to try to move our people to here and bring the goods that we need to create society here. So, like factories, people, resources. And what's cool is you need to make sure your people are fed. You need to make sure your people are housed. And getting them from here to there, it can be a slog. It it's probably like a 3-4 hour play, depending on if you have to learn it also. But at no point did I ever feel bored. At no point did I ever feel like, man, why is this guy taking so long to make his turn? Because once you get into a certain strategy, you kind of you kind of gotta stick with it to get through it. Um, Solid 9. Very happy I purchased this game. This game was actually one of the games that was given to some people at BGG Spring. Um, and some of them are like, oh, too high complexity. I don't want it. But one person's highly complex is another person's, oh, this makes complete sense. This game, very well designed, made complete sense. Components are beautiful. Yeah. Then I played Boss Fighters QR. I was like, I'm just going to find someone who's playing a game, and I'll play the game with them. Met a couple dudes from New York, sat down with them. This is the easiest game I played, even easier than the ones I called kids game, because all you got to do is scan the app. There's an app. That's why it's Boss Fighters QR. Everything is a QR code on the back. So you just scan and you play and you fight monsters. And I was like, my brain was so mentally exhausted from evacuation. This is the perfect way to end the evening. And then I went back on the Sunday just to sort of peruse the exhibit hall and see if there's anything I wanted to play test. None of the games that they were like sort of coming out with were really up my alley. Thought about buying some stuff. I bought a couple Geek Up kits, which I'll show here in a second. So there's a game called Troyes, Troyes. So I bought the upgrade coins and tokens for that. Not cheap, but you kind of like playing with better components so they don't fray. And then, since I really like Terraforming Mars, I bought some sparkly like tokens and stuff. If you can see, it's that spice and silver, etc. That one was a little bit cheaper, yeah. And so finally, my last day, I played the Druids of Adora. This game, and if you're watching this, Stefan Feld is another one of like the big names in board gaming. And according to my friend who I was talking to about this afterwards, I told him this game is superb. Now, the guy who taught me this game, I told him my issue with Orloj was that Orloj, I don't even know how you say it, was that it didn't feel immersive. I didn't feel like I was making a clock. And he said, well, in this game, you're not going to really feel like you're a druid, but trust me, it plays really well. So I trusted him. And he was 100% right. You don't really feel like you're a druid, but as far as area control and point management games goes, this game, absolute blast. Now, I don't know if this game has had its full, like it is available in stores, but like here, let's look to see if it's a pre-order. Yeah, pre-order. So this one is probably only available to people who like Kickstarted it, assuming it was a Kickstarter. Or in certain parts of the world, I'm not sure. But this game, let's see what they say. Yeah. The way there's a lot going on, right? Because you have your board, right, where these dice are actually your playing characters, believe it or not, and you roll them all at the start of the game. You never re-roll them. Those are your dice, so you have to strategize how you're going to use them. Because check right here, if you have a 2, someone comes along with a 3 or above, they score points later that you don't score, right? So that was pretty interesting. I came in second place. I had a pretty good roll, but I didn't fulfill a lot of my secondary objectives, so I didn't end up winning. But let's see. Right here, you can see there's your 2-player boards. Also, there's I'm sorry, your 1-player board. No, there are 2. Yeah, because here you have you put your discs on one of these sides, and you flip the other disc. You get to decide which perks you have throughout the game. So all of these are little perks that these flowers right here end up letting you have later in the game. Let's see if I know. Let's see if I can move that. You see how there's those flowers? Yeah, so you put those over here, here, right? And that is one of the ways that you score points in the game. Yep. But yeah, cool area control, cool resource management. I see it's rated at 7.9. Theme, I'd give maybe a 7 or an 8 because, like he said, you don't really feel like you're a druid. Gameplay, 10 out of 10. I loved this game. I see someone regretfully buying it or getting for Christmas next year, and they want to sell it for $40. I honestly, I'd buy this game for 70 if I didn't have 200 something board games on my shelf. That's how good. That's how much I enjoyed this experience. Now, would I say it was the best game of the convention? No, I would say, Shadows over Camelot for me. And then Fierabend, and then the Druids of Adora, but like they're all like in the 9-10 range. But yeah, that's a long explanation of my experience at BGG. I'm probably not gonna go to the main con this year. I think because I realize how much closer the spring convention is to me, and I don't stay overnight because it's like you're paying several $100s a night for these hotels near the airport in downtown Dallas. So I like commuting. So I think from now on, it's mostly going to be the spring convention. I probably won't go to the main one for a couple years, but the spring one, honestly, it's just as good. But yeah, this is an overlong video. I appreciate if you're still here. I will start talking more about board games and video games now, as well as other things. I will have more podcasts. But if you're following me, I hope you enjoyed this. And if you're thinking about getting into the hobby of board games, one of the best thing you could do is just go to a convention, see what's there, have someone teach you a game. Learn, like a lot of people say, oh, don't go to a con until you've been in the hobby. I say no, because whenever I went in 2019, I didn't realize what a noob I was. And it just really fostered. I would say don't be like me and have a bunch of board games on your shelf that may never get played, but that's not going to happen. Best of luck with your bank account. And that's that. Have a good one.